Hey guys, welcome to another Rick Grimes custom video. Now in this video I'm going to be just telling you how I painted his shirt and how I'm making a poncho. So this is just like a first part of making the poncho here, and then I'll edit in the second part. Now for the shirt it's basically just nothing all that big. I just painted the shirt with some acrylic paints. This is Apple Barrel, and then I also used another one which is Craft Smart, not the same paint, I used a white paint, but I used an off-white and then a white to create sort of a less than bright shirt, just because if it was a really bright white it would look quite off, especially compared to some characters. Like, you got dirty characters like Eugene here, and then you look at Rick Grimes. If he had a really bright shirt it would look a bit off. So I gave him a clean-ish t-shirt, and I think that turned out fairly well. And then the real trick is trying to get around the joints without losing all of the paint. What you have to do is just lightly brush that area. I've told you guys that before, but perhaps you haven't seen those videos. So just to catch up there, make sure to paint lightly around the parts that will be moving of the figure. So like main parts here, you don't have to worry too much. If it gets thick on there, then that's not a problem. Now, I tried two different poncho things here. First off, I was like, well, it's just a regular poncho, right? And made a square one. And I made this one just slightly taller than the figure's body here. And then I figured I'd just set that over him and press it down and it would look okay. But unfortunately, that's not really how his poncho looked in the episode, which it probably should look more like that because it was a sheet or a curtain that they turned into a poncho. But it didn't really look like that, so I looked at it and it looks a bit more circular. So what I went for is this more wide, huge, circular thing, and with a big opening for the neck because it had this, it showed his t-shirt underneath quite a bit. And yeah, it looks huge on him, but once you get the paints and stuff on this, it'll start melding to his body. Now, first off, to get it to be less stiff, what I do is I put that on there, take some rubber bands that are really tight, and set that over it, so it'll hold it to his body form, and it just like adds the wrinkles where they should be, makes it a little less clean and stiff looking. So what I used for this fabric is, it was just a pillowcase, but a really thin material. You want a thin material because if it was thick like a towel or something, it would definitely not work. It needs to be thin, and it's great for adding stuff onto it. So if it started out thick and then you add more stuff on, it would just be huge and thick. So I'm going for a very light material that, though it's a bit of a problem because it won't fall down under its own weight, it will work once we start painting it because it will hold form. Now I'm going to skip showing you guys the actual painting, but in this same video I'm going to just show you, I'm going to edit in me having it painted already, and then I'll probably describe it to you. Okay guys, so I'll see you then. Okay, so now we have some more progression here, and what I'm doing now is I've got the poncho painted mostly. Everything that I need basically on the poncho is painted. Now I need to create a bunch of guts and stuff to put on there. What I'm doing here is basically just right now just making some tiny little gut things to put on. So what I'm using here is twisty ties from like the supermarket and what have you, and just covering it in hot glue, and then I'm going to paint it a dark red and some black colors to make it look like chunky guts, and then because it's twisty ties it'll be able to hold form in whichever way you put it, so that basically you could hang it on him and it won't fall off. You can, I don't know, wrap it around any way you want basically, and it will hold form and it should keep its paint on. So let's see how that looks. Okay, so now I've painted all of these twist ties, and I've got a little bit of the glue gun stuff put on here on the poncho to make it look more chunky and kind of like it did in the episode. I think that'll look good, and I'll show you what that looks like on the figure in a minute. I also used, the paint I used is Craft Smart, and the colors I used are just red and black, mixed them together, and that paint you can get at Walmart for like 50 cents each, really good price. And just make sure to have a lot of black added into your paint mix. Creates a very gooey old blood look, and that works well for the zombie blood. So yeah, now that the paint is dried, I've put the poncho on the figure here and then put the rubber band over it, and this will hold it in place so that finally when it's completely, I give it like 2 hours like this or so, then take it off and the poncho should be like held into that position. And here is the final product. So it's come out pretty dang good, I think. Still holds its form because the paint has made the fabric all solid, and then having the rubber band on it made it dry in a perfect way. I really like the way this came out. And it does look better than the Series 8 Carol poncho, just because that one is not very practical looking and looks kind of really crappy, just to give you the look there alongside the Rick figure. And I also added a little slit in the front like he had in the show so that he can move his arm out there. And then on the side here, he can move his arm up and down without ruining the poncho. I like that. So that's the good part about having fabric over solid plastic rubbery type crap. As you can see, this stuff is not very pliable or anything, but whereas this thing here, very pliable. And I like that a lot. I think he came out pretty dang good. So next thing I have to do is show you guys the painting of the figure himself, which is part of my tutorial, and I will get to that once I post this. So see you guys then. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. And here's the poncho on a horrified Dale.